Okay, here we are. It's Toby and Bert to talk about the new match of Nate Diaz versus Leon Edwards. Now, Bert, I heard a strange rumor that you are going against your own countryman and picking Leon Edwards to take Nate Diaz out. What is your thinking behind that? Crikey, what are you thinking?
Well, first thing, crikey, he's going to sneak up, stick his thumb up his butt, and that's really going to piss Nate off.
Yeah, but really, what are you thinking? How can you think Leon Edwards is going to smoke him?
I think Nate has always been overrated, and I know he tends to win some of these bigger profile fights occasionally.
Only overrated? Are you on drugs? As in the words of the great Roy Jones Jr., y'all must have forgot what he's done, bro. He's killed so many people. He's snuck up and destroyed people, and you're just writing him off like he's nothing.
No, I must have remembered. That's my problem, is I remember all of the crappy performances he has. And when he ends up winning, here's the thing. Here's why I doubt him. Because when he ends up winning, he wins by taking a mad beating because his skills are not where other people's are. But at the same time, then he's able to take a beating. And then after he takes that beating so badly, the other guys are too exhausted from beating him, like Homer Simpson. Are you familiar with that episode?
Where Homer fights up his wins, man. Like you're a wrestler. You must remember Gray Maynard. How well did he do against him? Did he beat him up? Did Gray Maynard beat up Nate Diaz?
Remind me how many years ago that was?
I know, but it just popped into my head now, thinking what you said, and it just popped in my head. And I'm thinking of these guys that he smashed, like Michael Johnson. He did really well against Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson's probably similar, right? A sniping sort of dude, pretty sharp reflexes, can wrestle. Wrestlers usually lose to him, right? So not really. But
who's Michael Johnson beat?
He's a gun man. He's a gun. I don't know. This is an unresearched chat. So
top 5 guy, right? Or not top 10? No,
he has been. 15? When he beat him, 15? He was. When he beat him, he was. And what about Anthony Pettis, the former champion of the UFC that he destroyed? What about him? We don't count him.
He's one of the most overrated fighters.
Everyone's overrated now to you, Bert. What happened? What's happened to you? What about? Okay, here we go. You're going to smash this guy. What about Donald Cerrone? Is he not anything either? He's never done anything?
Okay. Cerrone's done some stuff.
Got him. And then he destroyed all of them. So what is it?
Cerrone, that performance was not the Cerrone that we all know. It did not. It was one of those nights where he just didn't show up. You know. It was one of the nights he didn't show up. It was a bad performance.
Yeah.
And so Cerrone, yeah, okay. He did bad.
So what's Edwards shown you that it's the shining light that he's going to take out Diaz? His amazing groundwork, or what is it?
There's nothing particular that's about him that's standing out. It's the fact that I don't
like him. You don't like Diaz. That's the problem. You haven't taken it.
He's an idiot. I don't
go. Oh, that's where we're at, because I like Diaz. That's where we're at. I like Diaz, and that's why I'm blind to your side and you're blind to mine.
Who walks around like this? Other than you, who walks around like this? Nate Diaz.
Exactly. Okay. But looking at the last performance of Johnson, you watched it? Not Johnson, but Edwards. You watched it?
Yeah. Well, when he poked the guy's eye out.
Yeah, I mean that was a good performance for eye poking. I'll give him that. No, but he looked kind of like he's the guy needs the timing of being in the distance and the person not coming towards him, and then he snipes. And I think that Diaz is a rough opponent for him because he moves forward and he puts pressure on people. And Leon Edwards likes to move around. From what I've seen, he likes to move around and be the guy that's sniping and leading the action,
Here's the deal. People talk about how great Nate Diaz's boxing is, and I just don't think it's that good. I think that he thinks it's really good, and he marches forward like he's tough because he can take a beating.
Yeah.
And he marches forward with this boxing thing, then talks about how great his boxing is, but it's not actually good because he gets beat up every time he does it. But then people just get tired.
I just think of him smashing people. His boxing is pretty good, but it's not like world-class boxer good. But what it is, it's a little bit like there's just the pressure. He puts maximum pressure on, and he's got a weird sort of. Sorry.
Yeah. Interrupt me again and see what happens.
I was talking first, idiot.
If Nate Diaz and O'Malley fought, O'Malley would destroy him. I feel like
It's like a
O'Malley
different
has
weight
solid-
division. You want O'Malley to put on like 10 kilos or something?
I'm just talking about this because O'Malley's fresh. We just watched him fight, and we were talking about him the other day. I think O'Malley's stand-up destroys Nate
So
Diaz.
this is changed from Edwards versus Diaz to O'Malley versus Diaz suddenly. O'Malley's not in the race, bro. Can we stick to the game plan? We're talking about Diaz Edwards. I'm thinking, so let's get back to logically talking about this fight. I would say Diaz, the pressure of Diaz moving forward, and like you said, he shines in some of these bigger profile fights. I feel like that's what may happen if he's lucky. Is he swarms this guy and doesn't give him the space, and he doesn't actually think Diaz is good like you, underestimates him, and he just starts smashing with these loopy long punches that he does, and he doesn't stop, and he smashes him up in the first round.
Here's the only way that Leon loses. The first round.
First round, he's done. Like
when has Nate knocked someone out in the first round?
He's done it before. He's done a few. Like this is an unresearched chat, but let me have a look. I'm sure he has. 100% he has.
Maybe an amateur.
That's you within 30 seconds. Go on.
Here's the only way that Leon loses this fight. Yeah. He jacks up Nate Diaz on the feet, so much so that he's just throwing bombs, hard bombs, trying to finish it because Nate's so jacked up. But for some reason, Nate has this disability in his brain where his brain keeps functioning. It's like a reverse disability. Gives him a superhuman power. So he keeps beating him so severely that he exhausts himself within the first round or two. And Nate's gonna wait. Is this a main event fight?
It's a co-main, but it's 5 rounds still.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So that's going to be a problem because he's going to piece him up in the first couple rounds, and then Nate's just not going to get tired. He's just going to keep coming forward. That's the only way that Leon loses this, and then he's gassed himself out by beating his head too much.
You watch Leon, all he can do is a jab, 1-2, jab 1-2, 1-2, jab 1-2, and his left kick. So he's got like 3 shots. I don't know, man. I think you can do a couple of leg kicks and stuff that might hurt Nate, but Nate's going to swarm him. The pressure of Nate is going to overcome Leon. Like I overcome you in the stand-up class.
Well, that's never happened. But he's got like a 9-fight win streak. I don't know what you're talking about because I don't remember and I didn't look anything up. But
exactly,
he's on a lot of wins right now, and he's well-rounded. He's skillful. He's other than his injuries all the time, he's fighting more frequently than Nate. Nate's just such a.
He's a legend. He's a legend of the sport, and he makes me want to watch.
I can barely understand him when he's talking.
What are you talking about? Yeah. Anyway, I got to run, so I'm going to leave it with this. Brent has picked Leon Edwards going against his country and his people, like a traitor that he is. I'm going to stick with Nate Diaz for the win in the first round, which is probably pretty good odds. So I probably should throw something down because I'm assuming that Leon Edwards is going to be the large favorite.
Yeah, put the money down. If you really believe it, put money down. We'll see.
Get some odds and I'll bet with you. Okay. That's better. At least I don't have to give the money to some other company.
All right. Works for me.
All right. We'll come back and talk about this when we actually have something we're more educated on the matter, on their histories and stuff. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. Cheers, bro. Nice mug, by the way.